behind the scenes if you want to keep
Okay. No, perfect.
Oh,
chit-chatting
Let's
about
rock and roll.
any of this other stuff. Just we're in the window here. Someone was chirping me on the on the YouTube post the other day about these guys never start on time. I said that is not true. You have bad information from last season.
So they're getting a little behind the scenes listen right now.
Yeah. If it's a road game, we start on time. So when it's a non-game, we better start on time.
Yeah, there you go. One sec. I got to figure out how to mute my YouTube channel because it's in my ear. Okay, I'm square. Let's rock and roll.
All right,
good show.
Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Sam Reinhart. How you feel about that, folks? That is what Canada likely will be taking into game number 1 of the Four Nations face-off, and I am in Montreal covering the event. Thanks so much for tuning in to Got Your Back. It'll be a great show tonight. We're going to talk a lot about this tournament, a lot about what we saw at practice today, lots of other content out here. We'll check in with Arvidsson, had a little chat with Matthias Ekholm, so we'll get you completely covered as far as the Four Nations and the Edmonton Oilers go. I know you're going to want to talk a little John Gibson. We will do that as well in conversation with Colton Parayko, too, a local boy, going to play a big role here on Team Canada's Blue Line. So we got all kinds of content. We're ready to rock and roll. Rob Brown is getting a suntan, so it is Struddy, it is myself, and it is Zuby at the helm at Growler Media World Headquarters in Kelowna. Looking forward to a great show tonight. As always, it's brought to you by Play Alberta. When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more, so you can play casino games and bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know is at playalberta.ca. I'm on the road again. That means we are in the mobile Adrenaline Diesel studio. We got an all-new 24/7 mobile service truck ready for roadside emergencies, scheduled repairs, expert diagnostics, anytime, anywhere. For service truck emergencies, call 780-907-1965, extension 119, and all that info available on Adrenaline Diesel's website. Struddy, a little golf outing, my friend. How's the trip? But more importantly, I'm sure you had fun and everything. What kind of shape is your game in? I'm asking for a friend.
Not good. Well, the first day I get there, I didn't know. I thought we were all just bringing rentals, and I saw everyone else brought their clubs. I brought rentals. First day, the guy's like, we don't really have much left. You can have a bag with no driver and a right shot putter. I'm like, I'm a lefty. And I said, well, is there a discount on that? And he's like, no. So I shot 106 the first day with no driver and a right shot putter, which is awful. And then I got back to normal after that the next couple of days. But it was the lesson learned. Bring your own clubs. Don't be lazy.
You brought rentals, you said. You made it sound like you rented clubs and brought them.
I know. No, it wasn't my best. It wasn't my best moment. Yeah, so here we are. I grinded it out. But we played a really tough course. I thought it was really tight the first day. Really, really tight and unfair.
We just found the equalizer for if I ever wanted to play against you, Struds. They'll say you get no driver and a right-handed putter. Then I might have a chance.
Putter. So what do you do? Like it's a 3-putt every hole at best, right? And those greens aren't easy down there.
Well, but Struds. Oh, and you're the only lefty in the group, obviously. Then.
Yeah. So no other that. So it really, and then you start getting frustrated. So like it was. By the end, I was playing pretty well, but the putting was disaster. The next day, I got my putter. I think I banged out on like a 91. And that's pretty good considering I haven't played for 3-4 months, right? So I was pretty happy.
Do you guys want to do Super Bowl talk? Like, I'll probably just bow out of that. I tried a terrible game.
There's nothing to say.
I tried to tune into the halftime show. I said to my wife, if this is what music is now and I got to listen to this to be cool, I will happily lean into my 50s here and not be cool. I thought it was a train wreck start to finish, all parts of it awful. So that's my submission. You two, though, you know more about this.
Well, I'll say this. As a Seahawks fan, their one and only Super Bowl was a very similar 43-8, right? And that was a whitewash, and they got a safety on the first play from scrimmage and never looked back. And I'll tell you, that game was darn enjoyable for me, but I don't, and for other Seahawks fans, but I don't think it's enjoyable for anybody else to see a game like that. So I'm sure Eagles faithful and maybe people who really hate the Chiefs, and there's a lot of them, probably got something out of that. But for me, who's someone like in the middle, just wanted to see a good football game, it was atrocious. It was terrible.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I just wanted, I mean, I was happy for Saquon Barkley. I was glad that he moved on and went to that team. But I mean,
Yes,
it was not even close. It was not even close. And I think we all now pump the brakes on the old GOAT talk on Patty Mahomes, because that was just absolute disgrace. He was awful, absolutely awful in that game. And I was at a house with a lot of Chiefs fans, and I kind of kept my quiet because they're like, "Oh, we're gonna kill him." I'm like, the Eagles have a really good D line. Oh no, Patrick Mahomes. And by halftime, like, they were playing Scrabble in the corner. And as far as the halftime, like, I don't know, I like some of his songs, and I'm not gonna say I can really interpret much. I don't get much of anything. I didn't mind it, but I like some of his songs. I was kind of into it.
Let me say this about the halftime show. I certainly know of Kendrick Lamar and what a big deal he is, but I don't know any of his songs. And I watched it and I was like, it's interesting. Like, I thought it was interesting. I liked, I was entertained. And then I started kind of looking up after. Then I started going into the layers of, like, the beef with Drake and all the diss tracks and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, now that I know some of that, it was actually more interesting to me after the fact. And let me just say one thing about, for all the people who said, oh, and the beef, Drake's dead and buried and whatever else, this and that. And it's like, okay, maybe, except if you're Drake sitting at home watching the Super Bowl, the entire halftime show was about you. And you're not even there, no matter what they're saying bad things about him. But the entire halftime show was basically about Drake when you break it all down. So I don't know who won the beef, because that's not my territory. But it became more interesting to me as I learned about the backdrop.
All right. Yeah, hearing all that from you doesn't make it any more interesting for me. I just thought musically, the whole bit, it was Deadsville for me. But yeah, well, let's get to talking some hockey then, shall we? Because there was lots of interesting stuff that happened. I want a quick shout out here. Long time. This is Y2 Bay, longtime podcast listener. Since I've been on short-term disability from work, I'm glad to watch the show live. Well, welcome, Y2 Bay. We appreciate having you here. Kendrick was good, but wrong person for the halftime show this year, at least, says Y2 Bay. So thank you for joining the pod, and thanks for chiming in. We'll have a good Ask Us Anything segment a little bit later on. We know you're going to want to talk about trades and trade prospects and all that kind of stuff. Fire in all your Oiler questions that you want. We're not just going to be Four Nations tonight. Now we're going to talk about the Oilers as well. But for now, since I'm here and I was at practice today, it was pretty cool. I have to say it was pretty cool. Let's get to our breakdown, shall we? Brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. The 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. See your Ram dealer today. All kinds of content over on tsn.ca. We had one-on-ones today with a bunch of different players. Myself with Chris Johnston, Pierre Lebrun, Mark Masters was there, Kenzie Lalonde. We filed a ton of content today, and you can catch it all on our YouTube page at TSN or on tsn.ca. So encourage you to go check that out, because there was a lot to dive into today, and we got a lot of good work done. Struds, I have to say, man, you know, I was there in 06. I was there in 10. I was there in 14. I have been to several world championships. I've done world juniors, but it's been a little while. It's been a little while since we did this NHL, we'll call it best on best, because for these four teams it is. And I have to say, there's this whole generation of star players, McDavid leading the charge, that have never really all gotten together the way they got together today for the first time. And I'm standing there watching, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's Bennington. Okay. Oh, okay, there's Nathan McKinnon. Oh, all right, there's Sidney Crosby. There's Connor McDavid. There's Brad Marchand. There's Drew Doughty. There's Cale Makar. Like, as they all filed onto the ice, Threads, it kind of had this moment of like, okay, yeah, I remember what this feels like. What a phenomenal collection of players.
I haven't felt any interest until I was flying home today and I started seeing the practice. I started reading the quotes, and not that I didn't have interest. That's wrong. I just, I wasn't feeling super excited about it. And now I am, because you could see the lines. Like, it was real. It wasn't you and I and all these other people guessing. It was real.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? Why would they put this guy here like that? It was pretty neat to see. And then the various people that are coming or can't come. So I in that 3-hour flight, I read a ton and watched a lot. And I really am interested now to see how it plays out. And there's no easy games. You know, it's going to be tough. Each team kind of has their own little wrinkle of good and bad.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to it now. I've been very interested now since today reading, kind of catch up, because it's real. It's like Christmas is tomorrow.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, I think in a lot of ways, it probably hit the players a little bit too. Like, a lot of these guys have never done that before. They've been at world championships and some familiar faces from junior, you know, this and that. But as they all got out there today, it was kind of like, holy smokes, here they are, they're doing it. And I talked to some guys afterwards, and like Struds, I can't imagine that the puck will drop and that these guys are going to give it 70%. I just can't imagine that. I mean, they're all here. They're wearing the colors. There's been a ton of work that's gone into this. The team is picked. And in talking to guys today, I do not get the sense at all that this is like a glorified all-star game like some people were thinking it might be. I really don't. Now, maybe I will be proven wrong. But I really got the sense in talking to some of these players that they were pretty fired up and pretty excited. So let's focus in on some line combinations. I'm sure a lot of you saw them today on Twitter, and we were reporting on them all day long, but let's kind of dig into them anyways. And then we got to talk about the Team Canada power play as well. So, I mean, first and foremost, Sidney Crosby, good to go. And Strud's, like, we could tell right away. He came out, I don't know if you saw the video out of Pittsburgh the last few days, like, he's barely been doing anything. Didn't even see him shooting pucks. Well, he got out there today, and he looked good, man. Took part in all the drills, was firing pucks, doing all kinds of stuff out there, skating on his line, playing on the power play, stayed late and shot a pile of pucks. So Sidney Crosby is ready to go. And that, I think, creates a buzz with this group. The difference between having Sidney Crosby with this group and not is absolutely massive, and you could really feel it among the group today.
Same as when Mario played, right? That 1 year. It's Mario. It's Mario Lemieux. And, he's not as good as Mario. Oh, he's up there. He's you know, he may not be Mario Lemieux, but he can definitely reach him for where he's standing in the order of the greatest players of all time in modern era, at least modern era. So it's nice to have him there. And I love where he is in the line. I love that he's up there and that he's the center. Like, there's so many things I love about where he is in the lineup too.
Yeah. Okay, let's run down what Team Canada's lines were. Zuby, did you grab that screenshot or no? No worries if you didn't, because I can just...
yeah, I got it.
I can run people through it. Oh, you got it? Okay, and this is courtesy...
The Puckpedia one.
Yeah, Hart Levine and our great friends over at Puckpedia, they always do such an amazing job, and they're going to keep track of the lines for all four teams. So if you flip over to Puckpedia, you can actually click on whatever team you want, and they've got full line combinations. Go ahead, Zuby, with Team Canada here. And they've got the salaries in there. They've got all the information in there. So this is super cool. Always a great site. So there you see it. Sam Reinhart, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner. Sidney Crosby, Mark Stone, Nate McKinnon, Point Jarvis and Marchand, Bennett, Sorelli, and Hagel. Konechny was not on the ice today. We'll get into the line or the D pairings coming up a little bit later on. Had a chance to chat with Colton Parayko today as well. So, Struds, when you saw Reinhart, McDavid, and Marner together, and we've talked about a lot of different possibilities, what did you think?
My first thought was negative. Who's the heavy player on that line? That was my first thought. And I shouldn't be, because that's three talented guys really do it well. But my first thought is, who's the guy that's going to be heavy in the corner, maybe going to get some hits? Like, which guy is it? And I don't see that guy. So I'm calling it here. That line will not last.
Yeah, interesting. So you think it'll be because this tournament's going to be such heavy hockey that there's just, do you really think that?
I think getting to the net, retrieving pucks. Like, who's the guy on that line that's a heavy puck retriever, heavy forechecker? It's not Marner.
That's
and
fair.
I'm not saying they're not good
Marner.
players. Connor works hard. He'll forecheck, but you know, he's more about the quickness, getting there quick. He will hit, and we may see him hit here. And then Reinhart is a guy that can really score. Again, I'm not sure that heavy stick, heavy let's just look at some of the other people. Stone, heavy. Cirelli, heavy. Hagel, heavy. Crosby, heavy. What's his name? Bennett, heavy. Konechny, heavy. That line, I don't think they'll last. And that was unfortunately, my first thought on the top line in Canada. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was as much. I would have loved to have seen Sid because he would be that guy on that line. Sid would be happy to play that role on that line, to get into the corners and pull pucks out and grind and stuff like that. But I think McKinnon and Crosby, I think there's a real desire for those two to play together. And so, makes sense. And I'm interested to see that. I think Sam Reinhart is a heck of a player. And I think Sam Reinhart is a really intelligent, cerebral player. I think he'll know what this line needs. And I think there'll be a willingness from him there. But yeah, you make a fair point there. You definitely make a fair point there. Let's hear from Connor McDavid here. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Weiss Johnson's offering 10% off any new furnace installed before March 1st. Should you need to replace your furnace because it's unreliable, like Struddy doing sponsor reads. Wow. I did not write that one. That was not me.
Zuby.
That was a stiff one. If it's unreliable like Struddy doing sponsor reads and you want a newer, better model that's more efficient, mention you heard it on the Got Your Back podcast. Book your estimates. You'll receive 10% off your new furnace price. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Jingle. The big guy's not happy.
It's false. Fake news. Fake news, everybody.
Fake news. Okay, a few questions with Connor McDavid today. Let's hear from him.
I think everybody just assumes it's going to work. That's not necessarily the case. It takes a lot of work. I think obviously you saw, a little bit of the power play come together today, working at it after practice. So it takes a lot of work, and it's got to come together real fast. So, but we'll make it work.
Mitch on one side, Sam on the other, just goal scoring, playmaking. Just run us through your line and what you think might.
Yeah, obviously two amazing players. Reinhart obviously scores lots of goals, great shot, so smart. Mitch obviously the playmaker, kind of plays up high in the zone. So definitely a good mix. It's fun to be out there with him for sure.
What does it mean for the group when a guy like Sidney Crosby, one of the best players ever, is pushing as hard as he can to be part of this tournament? For the morale of the group,
yeah.
How much it matters to him?
Yeah, it matters to everybody in here. Drew the same thing. Drew, could have easily turned it down. Coming off of his injury, and you saw what it means to him. Just in his comments, how hard he was pushing to get back to try to make the team and everything like that. So obviously it means a lot to Sid. It means a lot to everybody in here. It's an exciting tournament. It's an exciting time to be a part of this group, and fun to be out there finally.
Okay, we'll keep it rolling in the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Here is Mitch Marner on Playing on a Line with Connor McDavid.
Just try to get the puck to him with open space and time. Obviously everyone knows what he's capable of, regardless if he has time or space. So, for me, it's just trying to find that time and space for him. For Rhino, obviously he's a hell of a goal scorer. He's got a great stick around the net as well. So, try to look for that if I get up high with the puck or anything like that, and try to use both of our abilities to help Connor as well.
Okay, so Pierre LeBrun and I got into a bit of a debate today, Struds. One of the things Pierre believes is that if Canada is going to win this tournament, at some point they're going to have to play the heck out of their big guns, but also have their own version of a nuclear option. And that nuclear option involves a 29 and a 97 together as well. Back in the day, it was Lemieux and Gretzky loaded up onto a line and leaned into. He believes that McDavid and McKinnon will be the eventual landing spots and will be an incredible option that will work. I am not as convinced, as crazy as that sounds, because these are unbelievable players. But what say you about the idea that McKinnon and McDavid on a line together would be a dynamite mix?
The challenge, they both like to carry the puck. So someone has to figure out who they're going to give it to, right? And then playing off it. And I'm not suggesting they're selfish players. I'm not anything like that, but they're at their best when they're carrying the puck through the neutral zone. So if Connor has it, can McKinnon read off that? And these are smart, elite, genius players. So they probably can, but can they figure it out in 4 games? Can they figure it out that quick? And so that's the challenge. So it was interesting. I was reading that the coach, John Cooper, he made he made an interesting point. He said, we consulted the players on these lines. And I thought that was really interesting. Now, I don't know if that means that hey, what do you want to play with? But hey, this is a look we're going through this line. We're thinking this with this line. I get it. And it makes sense. But I thought that was really interesting. So if the players, they don't have to like everything, but if they're okay at these lines, then, Connor, he's much smarter at hockey than I am. He probably feels that those three guys will get it done. But as I look at that line, there's no doubt they're great at the puck and they're smart. And you talk about Mitch coming off high, all that. But there's going to be some heavy games in there. And who's the heavy?
Yeah, it's a fair point. And
Mark Stone. Yeah, that's what I would have put. I would have put Stone in Marner's spot, and then maybe swap Marner and Stone. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll see. At international events, I remember, covering Crosby at Olympics. Part of the storyline was they were trying to find the right fit for Sidney Crosby, and it wasn't always easy. It takes time, and you just don't have time. You have less time at this tournament than ever before at any of these other international ones.
No exhibition
games. These things do take time.
No
couple practices and you're off and running. 3 games, and then you either make the final or you don't. So you got to find it, and then the coach is going to have to decide: do you let it marinate? Do you think they're smart players? They're going to figure it out. If it's an awful period where they're dominated, is that it? All your whiteboard plans are scrapped? How reactive should you be in a short tournament like this? So lots, and that's why they have an experienced coach in John Cooper. But I agree with you. I disagreed respectfully with Pierre in that these are both puck transporters. And I think they're both phenomenal at grabbing that puck and going. And if you play them together, someone's going to have to adjust their game. Someone's going to have to. Or they're going to have to take turns adjusting their game a little bit, especially off the rush. And I just can't help but wonder, those are 2 guys you just want them to be themselves. Go out there and play your exact game and just play. And on separate lines to have that kind of crazy speed and attack ability. And you put them together, someone's having to tweak their game a little bit to make it work. In the early days, Taylor Hall never worked great with Connor McDavid. They didn't spend a ton of time leading into that, Struds, but Taylor Hall's a puck transporter as well. We kind of saw what that looks like.
That's exactly it. So you have to figure out how does that work, and it's so short. I don't think people understand. A couple practices, no exhibition games, no warm-up, no Kazakhstans to beat up on, no Germany to hammer on, right? You got to go, you're Sweden right away. They're organized. They'll be ready. And then, right into 3 games are really tough. So I could see them getting together some point, and I think that's fine. But I would keep them apart because they drive such good pace with their own lines. But I think there'll be guys crawling up for the bottom of those lines. I'm looking even at Seth Jarvis. I'm looking at even Bennett. You might see Bennett beside McDavid, which would be pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, they will get together on the power play. We'll save that for the next segment. Want to talk about a couple things that I saw in Canada's power play today. I also asked Matthias Ekholm, what's it going to be like defending that power play? And he had a real nice answer to that. Also, they all flew down together yesterday. McDavid, Arvidsson, Ekholm. What's that flight like? And what do you talk about? So Matthias Ekholm took a couple of minutes with him earlier on today as well. Okay, still on this topic, let's get to our DeBoer's YouTube poll. Zuby, hop on in here, my friend. Let's get to it. Brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Are you fired up for the upcoming golf season? New 2025 equipment from TaylorMade Ping Callaway arriving at DeBoer's. So get ahead of the fitting rush and schedule your appointment today, located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. That is DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Zuby, run us through.
Yeah, so on the Team Canada nuclear line option idea, the question tonight is how would McKinnon and McDavid work together on a line? The options are amazing, let's see it. Second option is they'd figure it out eventually. Third option is not sure it's a fit. And the fourth option is too similar, wouldn't work.
Okay. And we will recap those results coming up a little bit later on the show in our Ask Us Anything segment. Strudge, you got a Relentless player for today, buddy?
Oh, I do. You know it.
You do? All right.
I
All
do.
right. Well, let's get to that.
Really looking forward to the 6 unforgettable comedy nights that are set to go here with UCAN Youth Services in March. It's one of our favorite events that we do every year. It's just an awesome organization, right? And every ticket sold helps provide mental health support, job training, and mentorship to young people that are in need. So we're going to be there. I think we're going to go to the last night of the comedy event. It's going to be lots of fun. So don't wait. Grab your tickets at ucan.ca. Mention Got Your Back, and then you'll get 10% off of those tickets. We hope that you get a chance to go out and support a great local organization that's helping a lot of youth in our community. Struds, who's relentless today?
The Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. They had a 4-man rush all game. And I just saw this today. They didn't blitz one time, which I believe is a Super Bowl first. They didn't blitz once, and they put pressure on the greatest show on turf, the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I just love it. I wish Brownie was here for this beating. But so relentless is the very definition of 4 people sacking, getting after that mobile quarterback the whole game without blitzing once. Incredible. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, tap in. This is the tap in.
Love it. All right, that is our relentless players of the day, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. Quick break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about Canada's power play. We'll talk about what the setup is on Team Sweden and where Arvidsson and Matthias Ekholm are checking in those lineups. And we'll do that and lots more to come on the show. Still got Drew Doughty on deck. Chat with Colton Parayko as well. So plenty ahead. Stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for takeaways brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. There's no better investment for an acreage owner than a John Deere compact utility tractor. Transform your property. Start with a tractor, then tackle all the jobs around with easy-to-use attachments like a tiller, mower blades, snowblower, and more. Visit Horizon Ag and Turf at their 13 Alberta locations. They are your local John Deere dealer. So everybody was kind of, when we saw the power play unit that John Cooper put together, everybody kind of went like, woo. They started running it, Struds, and it was really something. So I'll run it down for you. So Cale Makar obviously is on the point. Connor McDavid, Sam Reinhart made the top power play unit, Nathan McKinnon, and Sidney Crosby. Now, as far as positioning, so Makar is obviously up at the top. McDavid, so if you're looking at the net, McDavid is to Makar's right, at least on their initial setup. Sidney Crosby is down kind of in the Zach Hyman spot beside the net, but he was over on the right side of the net. You have Reinhart in the bumper position, kind of in the high slot there. And then you got Nate McKinnon over on the left side. Now, I'm sure the guys will move around a little bit and such, but this is the way that they set it up a couple of times when they got into the zone, Struds. Kind of an embarrassment of riches. What do you make of the setup there? I love Sid down by the net there.
Yeah, so it's like a 1-3-1, right? So they got it set up. It's like, and they're going to move it around. You pop out, pass it around. The nice thing is McKinnon's on his one-timer side, right? So is Connor. Sidney Crosby's role here is to retrieve pucks, like you see on the Oilers power play with Hyman, right? Get it back, fight for pucks around the net. And the great thing about Sid is he's not too proud. And listen, you're on the power play at the top unit, so you should be happy, but he's not too proud. This is where with this group, this is kind of where he fits in, and he's willing to do whatever is required. And then Makar on the blue line just wheeling and dealing. I cannot wait to see McKinnon McDavid and Makar working that, going side to side, up and over, and then, the high roll outside the zone. Like, it's going to be crazy. But I love the comment from Cooper. He's like, we don't have time to figure this out. It's like, we're starting with our best unit. We're not going to say, hey, let's give these guys a chance. It's time to go right away because there's no time. This is literally like the ultimate Pee Wee hockey tournament. You just got to come in and win. You can't lose.
Well, Cooper talked about it like it's 4 game sevens. He's described the tournament as that.
Yeah, love it.
Multiple times heading in. So the one element of the power play that really struck me, Struds, when I saw them doing the breakout, I wondered, like, how are they going to do it here? Because we know it works with McDavid. So this is the breakout. Picture this. And they did it 3 times where they did like controlled breakouts. So the first time, Makar grabs it and he drops it back to McDavid. Grabs it at full speed. He's an automatic on the zone entry, right? Bang. So that's option A. The second time, exact same setup. McDavid dropped right back like they were going to do it. Makar faked the drop back and hit a streaking Nathan MacKinnon at full speed on the other side. So that's the other option that blue liners have to worry about. So you got McDavid on the slingshot. You got Makar over, or MacKinnon over on the other side. And then, by the way, if Cale Makar wants to, he can skate the thing over the line pretty damn well, too. So it just, all 3 of these guys are zone entry machines. And what an option on a breakout, Struds. You got to worry about McDavid coming at you full speed or a blazing bull in Nate MacKinnon.
The best part is that he thinks it. Like, they can all think the game. So they're thinking so far above. They'll know where I got to be here if this guy gets here. Like, it'll be fun to watch them. Now, the challenge is you got to do it in real time, right? They don't have a lot of practice to kind of get it going. But if they do it once or twice, they kind of program it in. They're like, okay, this is where I need to be when this guy hits here. They'll be there. They just and they all have the ability to get the puck to player A, B, or C, wherever that guy is.
You've talked about how short a time they have to try and come together here. And Zuby can roll in that video of Crosby and Nate MacKinnon. So it was interesting, Struds. They blew the whistle and they shut down practice and nobody left the ice. Like, nobody left the ice. Not that you'd expect them to. Everybody hung out and they got into little groups. So this is Nathan MacKinnon throwing to Sidney Crosby, him taking it on the backhand and firing shots. Now, Sid potentially will see some time in the bumper spot on the power play when it shifts over to the other side. And this is them working on that little, backhand to forehand shot pass. But they spent maybe 10 minutes doing this and a few other shooting drills, but all kinds of different players kind of paired off and went and worked on different things, Strud. So many of them getting together for the first time. And it would seem to me that those little margins, those things that you can get together and figure out in practice that you would learn about a player through the course of a season or get used to over 10 games, little nuances you would learn. It's like everybody realized this is the time to start figuring some of that stuff out.
Well, you don't have time because you got to figure out, where do I like to get the puck and how am I going to get it to you? And vice versa, because they can all make plays. These are all the alphas from their teams. So you got to figure out quickly, how do I want it? Where do I want it? And Sid is showing them there. Like, I might, depending where my stick is, put it on my backhand if it's open, whatever. So I love that these guys did that. And they know they have to come together quick. You got to gel quickly because you don't have time to feel your way into this tournament. You cannot be, starting off poorly. And then, mid-game, you might have 2-3 shifts to audition. So let's say Seth Jarvis goes up on one of the top 2 lines. You have 2-3 shifts to figure out if it works or not. No, okay, Seth, you're out. Put it somewhere else, right? Like, that's how you don't have 3 periods. You don't have 2 games. This is shifts, because we're talking, if it's 4 games times 20 shifts each, that's 80 shifts. You can't waste 20 shifts trying to figure out if Strudwick McDavid works.
Yeah. Okay, let's shift over to Team Sweden. So their top couple of lines, Nylander, Zibanejad, Raquel, Kempe, Pettersson, and Forsberg. A couple of real good formidable lines there. And this will be Canada's first opponent coming up. Victor Arvidsson was on the 4th line alongside Lindholm in the middle and Nyquist over on the left side. So at least in the early going here, and we expected this Arvidsson to be in more of a 4th line role. D pairings, Hedman and Brodin. We know Brodin plays a lot against McDavid when they face them. Matthias Ekholm was with Carlson today. And then Dahlin and Anderson were out together. But Gustav Forsling was not out there today. I think he might be ill. I'm not sure. He wasn't out there today, but I don't think I think he'll be okay for the tournament. I wonder if Forsling maybe slots in
alongside Matthias Ekholm. But Ekholm is going to play a huge role on this blue line Struds, and we'll probably end up seeing quite a bit of Connor McDavid. But what do you make of that D core taking on Team Canada?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good decor. Obviously, guys that are, they're pretty veteran. There's some size there, guys that have won before, and they understand, how to slow people. And I'll make that clear. You slow them down. You're probably not stopping them, because the problem is that you can have a great shift against Connor and Sid's line, and then you roll out the next line, and they're still, who is it? It's Sorelli and Jarvis and whoever. Like, there's a lot of talent through this lineup. So there's no off shifts, no easy ones. I'll make this point. The top two centers from Sweden have a reputation of being not the most competitive gentlemen on the ice.
Zibanejad and Pettersson, yep.
So, that is an interesting thing to watch as you go through the tournament or through this first game. What is that matchup? Do they try to get a matchup? I don't mean they're all play against each other, but you see last year against Florida, Zibanejad was pushed out of games, and Pettersson for the last year has had a trouble kind of finding his game. So, a huge opportunity for him to set the record straight for sure. Pettersson, that is.
Okay, let's get to the big guy, Oiler defenseman Matthias Ekholm. By the way, sounds a little like you, Struds. He's been sick for a while here. He's been sick for a few games. He was grinding his way through, but it's hanging on. But had a chance to catch up with Ekholm today, right at the tail end of his media availability.
You guys all get on a flight together. Your teammates, you're used to being around each other, but you hop on a flight together and come out here ready to take each other on in that way. What's the conversation like on that plane? Do you talk about the tournament? Do you keep it light? How'd that go?
Yeah, a little bit, I'd say, but it's at the same time I'm trying to, we were saying, you don't have to, just because you're playing each other doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you have to injure each other. That's just what it is. I'm going to battle the puck with him, and I'm not going to want to lose that battle whatsoever, and I know he is the exact same way. So it's going to be special for sure. I haven't played against him, obviously, since I got to Edmonton, and I haven't had a chance in a long time to play against him at all. At this stage, it was that Team North America, but he's obviously the best player in the world, and I see him every day in practice. So hopefully there's some muscle memory of what some of the things that he does, but I'm going to have to be on top of my game, and everybody that's out there against him is going to have to do that. But at the end of the day, he's the best in the world. We know that, but we're going to have to focus on our team and what we're doing.
You guys, you watch him all the time on the power play. He's like a zone entry machine. He's automatic. They drop it back, and he always finds it.
Yeah.
Well, this power play can either drop it back to him, fire it to the wing for McKinnon on the fly, or McCarr can just skate it himself. What's that going to be like, the penalty kill against that?
Yeah, interesting, for sure. But some other guy asked me that too, and I think I need to reiterate, there's only one puck out there. It's great talent. I understand their first part. You can't basically script a better unit. I don't know who else you put on there, but at the same time, there's one puck. So with that said, there's world-class talent on there, and we're going to have to be sharp, and we're going to have to try to do our best to deter it. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a penalty kill, and it's going to be a power play. And then it's sometimes the power play, you can have all the talent in the world, it doesn't work, and vice versa. So hopefully our penalty kill is up for the challenge, and that we can do a good job.
At least you don't have to deal with Leon on the flank.
Yeah, right? That's great.
All right, Matthias Ekholm. I love that, Struts. There's only one puck out there. You can't think too much about all the talent coming at you. Just focus on there's just one puck.
I'm very interested to see how many secrets he gives out about Connor McDavid. Because he must, so do you say, hey, man, when he does this, do this? I get you want to win, but I'd rather win a Stanley Cup, with all due respect to the four nations. So do you say, hey, man, he has a tendency to do this? I wouldn't. Yeah. But these guys
are going to be giving Gustav Forsling any more intel than he already has on McDavid?
And I think you play hard.
That's interesting.
You play him hard, but do you say, hey, guys, when he gets it here, this is what he like to do? Oh, thank you, Ekholm. I'm going to bring that home and tell Paul Maurice that again. So I think you got to be real, but it's safe for everybody. So I think you got to be really careful about the information you divulge. I think you'd rather come from the coaches than from your teammate.
I never even thought about that. How much you would strategize against shutting down the guy that you're,
that you're a teammate with. That's fascinating. I want to go back and ask him that. If I run into Ekholm again, I'll have to ask him that question, Struds, because you make an awesome point there. All right, that was Takeaways brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. All right, before we get to break, we're going to go to a scoreboard. Obviously no games, but we'll talk about a couple of things here on our scoreboard, brought to you by Canadian Club, the all-new CC Classic. 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish. So if you aren't familiar with the Four Nations schedule, here's what I'll tell you. Canada against Sweden. So these are 8 o'clock Eastern time starts. It'll be 6 o'clock Edmonton time. So Wednesday is Canada versus Sweden. Thursday, USA, Finland. Saturday, Finland, Sweden in the afternoon. And then, of course, the big game Saturday night, the United States versus Canada. So another day of practice tomorrow. They will have media day where they all go to the pods. And they'll do a ton of media again tomorrow. And then the game day set to go on Wednesday against Sweden. And again, we'll be here filing all kinds of content on tsn.ca and on TSN's YouTube channel. Love working with Mark Masters, Kenzie Lalonde. Mark, very quirky fella, Struds, and I'll show you an example of that coming up a little bit later on in the show. Meanwhile, with no games, let's do a little refresher on where the Oilers are at in the standings, bud.
I think it's important to kind of it's a break, a pause, 55 games through, and the Oilers find them in a good position. In the Pacific Division. They're tied with Vegas, 72 points. Both teams have 72 points. Oilers do have a game in hand. The Oilers, obviously Friday night wasn't ideal, but other teams have been struggling, Vegas and the Kings. The Kings find themselves in third position in the Pacific, 65 points, but they do have 2 games at hand on the Oilers and 3 on Vegas. Now, league-wide, the Oilers are, top 5. They find themselves in 4th position, tied with Dallas, who have the same number of games, 72 points. And then the league leaders, and they pulled away from the league, are the Jets, 81 points, Capitals, 80.
Right.
As I mentioned, Dallas and Oilers and Vegas, all tied at 72.
Yeah, and they're not loving the way they're playing right now either. Like Draisaitl talked a little bit about it. We've asked players about it. Like, if you were to take little test samples from this season and you were to test sample this last 4 or 5 games, it would not be their favorite, Struds. Like, I don't think they want to come back from this break and pick it right up from where they left it. This hasn't been their highest quality game. And I don't know if it's maybe some fatigue, if this break doesn't come at a good time for them.
I think the break's the perfect time. I think this couldn't come at a better time for those guys to chill, just get away, and a mental refresh. I think we'll see a more, maybe not right away, game 1, game 2, but we'll see more juice from these guys because now they're dialed in. Yeah. This is the home stretch. What is it, 27 games left? This is the home stretch now. You've got to get, your game has to get in. So I think we'll see more hitting. And I think just a little bit more urgency from the group through the next 27. Yeah.
Okay, Zuby, I'm going to call an audible here. I want to get to our Taking a Lap segment because we're going to throw some chatter in here about the Oilers, the trade deadline, this John Gibson stuff. I want to get to that before we go through Brownie Points and Struddy's World and all that. So let's take a couple of laps here, and that'll be brought to you by Akon. So if you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional and you want work in Western Canada, Akon is hiring, looking for skilled tradespeople, construction professionals to join their team. Akon, you can send your resume to them. trades@akon.com is the email address. That is trades@akon.com. Looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join their team. Okay. Pierre LeBrun wrote the other day in his article with Stan Bowman that the Oilers are standing pat on their goaltending and that, the idea that John Gibson would be brought in isn't something that the team needs. And Bowman had, pretty good quote on that. Comes up in 32 Thoughts, Freed's podcast again, that, Gibson to Edmonton is still sort of that conversation piece. Not necessarily sensing, and I know Dregs and the guys have talked about this too. This has kind of been all over the place here, but it keeps coming up, Struds. It keeps coming up, and we've addressed the goaltending on the pod a number of times. But when it keeps coming up in these insider circles and such, probably need to take another look at it and dive back into it a little bit more. I still believe that the Oilers are
set on the goaltending front and that they don't believe a significant upgrade or a change, I'll even say, is necessarily needed. My every instinct tells me that. People I've talked to, my information suggests such, but this keeps coming up.
I like the way you frame that because, if someone's going to give you Dominic Hasek from like his prime, yeah, I'm probably taking a look. But do we know John Gibson is that much of a lift on Skinner? Like, what's the lift? He hasn't played playoff games in a number of years. He has struggled in the last number of years on a bad team. This year, he's having a much better year. And we don't know. We don't know if he's that much of an upgrade. Skinner has been there, and even the guys know him. I don't believe, because if they choose to do that, then they can't do other things. And I think that the other things list is a stronger pull for this management group than the goaltending thing. Now, the one thing, and someone told it to me, someone actually texted me about it, saying, maybe they need to add a depth netminder. A guy that is, another guy, just have three. Because right now, is Rodrigue your third? Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Never played an NHL game? Let's say something happens and someone has to play for a game or two and he's sitting on the bench.
Oh, did he mute himself,
Sorry,
Zuby?
Sorry, my bad. A depth goaltender.
Yeah, you're good.
So that's what I'd look for. Depth goaltender is maybe what I'm looking for with NHL experience.
Right. I mean, Gibson, he needs to wave to go wherever he's going to go. Wants the opportunity to be a starter. Doesn't necessarily automatically get that here. The most poignant point you made there was that if they go do something like that, then there are a big list of other things that they're not going to be able to do, or a list of a few things that they're not going to be able to do, depending on what the salary retention and all that stuff looks like. So again, I'll maintain the position I've had all along here that I think Stuart Skinner has shown that he can outduel another really good goaltender in a playoff series. He's shown that he can handle the pressure in a Stanley Cup final, help his team get to Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. He was pretty good in that Game 7. When you go out and get somebody else who hasn't really had those experiences, it's a bit of a crapshoot. And then, by the way, Calvin Pickard, has been one of, if not the best backups in the league all season long, and also showed that he has the ability to step into a playoff series and solidify and play pretty well too. So I'm just not sure what you'd be looking for unless you can find high end, like high end. I just don't know why you would, spend bullets on that particular part of the lineup. But maybe this continues to come up for a reason. I'm not sure. But my every instinct is that the Oilers, believe in Stuart Skinner and are going to be standing pat. Okay, our other element here in taking a lap, Drew Doughty. So did you see his minutes, Struds, when he came back?
Yeah. He was sending a message.
Well, and they were helping him send a message. So Drew Doughty played over 26 minutes a night after coming back from being gone that long. His minutes were insane, but he wanted to get himself into shape. He wanted to prove to everybody he could do it. He was trying to get the call from Team Canada, and he did. And it was pretty cool to see him out there today because he was part of that young generation the last time all these guys got together and did this, and he was a big part of it. So I had an opportunity to catch up with Drew Doughty. This interview, and you can see the entire thing on tsn.ca, but this interview courtesy our work over on tsn.ca.
Couldn't help but notice you were 26 plus minutes a night after getting back from this injury, trying to, get the miles on and make sure you're able to do this. What did you sort of learn about where you were at through that, playing that many minutes?
Well, early, I'm not going to lie, you get tired. No matter what you do on your own to get ready, I skated for 5 weeks before I played my first game, maybe even more. And no matter what you do until you get in the game situation, until you get into a D-zone grind, you're never going to get in shape. So they kind of did me a favor playing me those minutes because I'm definitely in shape now, and by my last 2 or 3 games out of the 6, I felt back to myself.
You can only imagine what it means to you to be here. You've done some of this before. You know what this feels like. And, considering you haven't played that many games, for them to lean into you like this and bring you here, that's got to mean a lot. I mean, you've earned it, but you know what I mean.
No, it definitely means a lot. It shows, that how much they trust me. I've played well for Canada before, but a lot of people, wrote me off making this team, and I don't think a lot of people thought I'd be here. And I'm gave me a confidence boost, no doubt about it. Them showing the trust in me to play, and I know I'm going to come out here, play hard, and play my best, and do everything and anything it takes to help us win.
I've been covering you for a long time. It was a little strange seeing 89 on the back of the helmet.
Yeah.
How'd that all play out?
Well, I keep telling everyone Kale wouldn't give me 8, but it's not true. They had already started making and selling jerseys. I found out on Saturday, so I had to choose a new number and went with 89. Born in 89, wanted an 8 in there of some sort. So
Sam Gagner tribute.
That too. Played with Sam growing up a little bit. Played against him. So yeah, we'll go with the Sam Gagner tribute.
Last one here. A generation of players really hasn't had the opportunity to come and do this.
Yeah.
So for some of these guys, just talking to Mitch Marner, seeing Sidney Crosby out there, for a generation of these young star players, this is kind of a one-off. It's the first time for them. What do you think it means for these groups to kind of join a little bit here?
Yeah, means a lot. Like I was saying, I came in here, I don't even know any of these guys besides playing against them, which is super weird because I've been in the Canada system for so long, but that's a lot of people want to maybe think this tournament isn't going to be big or something, but we've never had this Team Canada team together, and I've never had the chance to play with some of these guys like McDavid, McKinnon, Makar. So, it's going to be a competitive tournament, and guys are going to be flying, and we want to win.
All right, Team Canada defenseman and late addition Drew Doughty. Kind of interesting hearing him talking about thanks, guys gave me the opportunity. I've got the confidence to be this guy's done everything, Struds. Absolutely.
I love that he's there.
But he's getting on in age. Yeah.
I love that he's there. He and Sid have been through it. He's got confidence. He brings swagger. He's so good. And I remember when they went to, I think it was to Vancouver, and he was just a baby. And we played him right before it. And I lined up against him. I said, "Hey, Drew, good luck at the Olympics." He's like, "Thanks, man. I hope there's some parties after." I'm like, "Yeah, I think he'll be fine." It's I would have been sleeping. He's like, "I hope there's some parties after." Yeah, I'm sure you'll find a party or two after. But
what a character.
I always liked him, but hearing that, I was like, "Oh my God, I love this guy." And he's an important part. He's been through it. He's got swagger. No moment will be too big. Now, will he be out there for every key moment? It might be some others, including Makar and such, Taze. But I believe, he's going to find a way to be a contributor. Not that he won't, but you know what I mean? He'll be as big as I think he can be for sure for this team.
Well, and it sounds like, overall he played a ton of minutes, but I don't know that they were all super high quality minutes. I think he was playing through some stuff, right? Playing through trying to find the hands and he was out for a while there. So I think that's why he appreciates what they did, playing him that many minutes, helping him get ready because they played him through a little bit of tough stuff. And now, I thought he looked fantastic out there today. Still such a great skater. And be real interesting to see Drew Doughty's impact on this Team Canada. That was Take a Lap, brought to you by our friends at Akon. Trades at akon.com is where you can send your resume if you are looking for work. Also had a one-on-one with Nathan McKinnon, Mitch Marner, and then lots of hits with our insiders as well. And all that coverage from out here in Montreal is available on our website over at tsn.ca. All right, when we come back, Struddy's World, Brownie Points. We will take a trip. Who we want to talk about when it comes to potential trade deadline, who might be getting on a plane, and a conversation with Colton Parayko as well. Lots ahead. Stay with us.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at sequelandentistry.com.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. God, I look good.
Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. So they've got locations in Calgary and in Edmonton. If you're a contracting business or a contractor yourself, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line. Reliable, unmatched service, high-quality North American-made products. Visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. All right, Struds, what's on your mind tonight, buddy?
There's gentleman rules in golf that we all abide by. It's just a fact. You don't talk when someone else is swinging. You don't walk in someone else's line on where their ball's going to go on the green. And then, generally speaking, when you're playing, if someone's within 12 inches, 15 inches, pick it up. Hey, you got it. Shogger, you pick it up. I had a situation on this golfing trip I've never seen before, and I'm still devastated, quite honestly. We got to about the 15th hole, and we were playing, and I was using rental clubs, so it was tough, but I got it within, let's call it 15 inches. And, everyone else was kind of putting. I'm kind of, you do that game, you drag your feet, you don't move quickly. And I'm waiting for someone to say, pick it up. No one's saying, pick it up. So in the end, I'm like, am I doing this? And the guy's like, yeah, you got to putt this in. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I proceed to putt it. And to be honest, I missed it. I did miss the putt. Again, I was using rentals. I was using... Hold on. Don't judge the story. Okay. I was using rentals. Now, I was frustrated, as was my partner. Now, in the end, it didn't really make a difference. We beat them both days, so I don't want to talk about how great we were. But it is as we argued for the next 5 holes, and we argued the next day the whole time. It's a gentleman's game. You have to. If I've been giving you those gimmies, you have to return it. And we had been giving gimmies. I gave gimmies that were so long it was embarrassing. So it changed the whole complexion of the whole situation. So I'll sit down and listen, but I feel that it doesn't matter if I made the putt or not. It's the fact that strict rule wasn't obeyed, guys. The gentleman's agreement in golf.
Zuby, you want to take this? What do you think?
Well, here's a good point from Ronnie Oceanfront. Was there money on the line, or is that to be assumed?
Oh, there's money on the line the whole time. Even when I gave like a 2-footer to a guy that could barely reach that far. And so it was a battle. It happened Friday. We've been battling. The text machine is blowing up still till today.
So, okay. So here's my question. What is the argument that the decision makers are giving you? Like, give us an honest assessment of what their side of the story and argument is. What reason are you getting?
They felt I was going to miss it. And I did. But you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose when you're thinking it's still the agreement. We still agreed to it prior to we're going to give up these gimmies. It's like all of a sudden we're going to go 2 off the first tee, and then you hit a bad one. Like, sorry, Shogger, no more for you. You can't change the rules.
Okay.
And that's
gimmies, they're a thing. But do you adjust the distance with which you are willing to give an individual a gimme based on your knowledge of their game? Or should a gimme for one person be a gimme for everyone in the group no matter what? Because it would seem to me, Struds, what they are doing is they're recognizing your putting is garbage and adjusting the length of gimme they're willing to give you based on that. And is that a thing? Or is a gimme for one, a gimme for everybody all the time, no matter what?
I give it 12, 15 inches. I give it all the time. And so they knew I was struggling with this putter because I was using a rental set that looked like Ronnie Dangerfield used in Caddyshack in 1927. And so that's where I was struggling. So and there was money online. And to be fair, they were losing. They were losing at that point. Now, I should say the next 3 holes, I drained 3 putts longer than 5 feet. The shortest was 5 feet, just to prove the point that I can do, but I don't have my normal putter. So it's a real point of contention here. It might break the group up. Massive
really
contention. Massive.
All right. Yeah, I wish we had Brownie here for this because he's a big golf guy. I'm kind of leaning with you, Struds. Like, I think if you're expecting them, and it always happens in a game where there's money on the line, at a certain instance, the gimme game will change. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, really? We're doing that now. And it's like,
you can't change it.
Like,
once it's established, you can't change it.
You've been missing these all day. How do we give you that when you know how you've been putting all day?
You can't, once the gimme is established, it is locked in. You can't change the gimme rule just because you're losing. To me, that doesn't work. Then let's, and that's what he said. Let's play again. No gimmies. And if I think from now on, there'll be no gimmies. I don't care if your ball's looking into the hole. You got to tap it in. And we might have to bring a ref. Actually, we decided we have to hire a ref to come with us to arbitrate these games. Because there's one other one of the guys, he's talking desert rules. I've never heard of desert rules. He's moving the ball. It looked like Connor McDavid stick handling to find a nice piece of grass to put it on. Desert rules. Crazy.
Interesting. Robin Mungle Fitness says if the entire game had been slowing gimmies up and giving gimmies up until that point, then that was not cool of them. So Robin Mungle Fitness is with you. That was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. All right, Brownie is not here. If you got any brownie points you want to fire into the stream here last second, go ahead and do that because we are going to award some, even though the big guy is not here. Let's get to brownie points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky, the ultimate game day snack for those who demand bold flavor and unbeatable quality, making them from prime Alberta beef, available in 13 great flavors. There's a taste for every craving. For the month of February, buy 2 pounds of jerky for $70 and get a bonus quarter-pound mystery flavor pack. Free shipping Alberta-wide as well. So for details, check them out, albertajerky.com. Use the code GOTYOURBACK for an additional 10% off. All right, we'll each chip in here with a few. Struds, you go ahead and start, buddy.
Okay, I read a story about Connor McDavid that after they lost to Tampa Bay 5-2 a short time ago, he went in and asked their coach John Cooper if he could talk to the 3 players that are on the team, and I love that. Like, that's leadership, right? You put your 5-2 loss aside to talk to these young guys. I'm guessing, hey man, looking forward to it. This is what you can expect. This is what we're going to do, or whatever, right? Whatever he's saying. But can you imagine being a youngish player? Now they've had success, those 3 players, but getting Sidney Crosby wants to see in the hallway. I'm sorry, who'd you say? Sidney Crosby. Okay, we're out. We're coming in right now. I'm jumping off the training table right now. So great move. So that's 87 points for Brownie or for
all right.
Sid.
For Sid. All right, I'm going to give 20 NHL points or 20 points to the NHL / Team Canada. So today they opened up their locker room. This is inside ball. None of you at home are going to care about this. But the reason we got all these great interviews today, all the other teams just did these podiums where they bring out like 4 or 5 players and just put them at podiums, and that's kind of all you get. Team Canada opened up their locker room today to this massive crush of media. Everybody was there. Everyone was sitting in their stalls. Everyone was relaxed, took lots of time. It was a fantastic media availability where we got a great opportunity to talk to everybody that matters in my world. And I get to give out whatever brownie points I want. So 20 to the NHL for the way they handled that media availability today. Zuby?
I got 33 brownie points for Aiden Hill for this setup right here. This blocker and glove and pad setup in his Team Canada gear that is absolutely perfect. I've always loved gear. This is so on point. No notes. It is perfect. I love the waffle blocker. My last retro blocker was a waffle blocker too. Love the look. It's awesome. And in fact, I'm giving Aiden Hill the starting job based just on this gear. I don't even care how they play getting it in practice here the rest of the way. To me, he's the starter because of that look right there.
Very cool.
That is pretty solid. I should mention, by the way, that John Cooper wouldn't name a starter. Said he would tell us tomorrow. So we should know by this time tomorrow. Kind of looked like maybe Binnington, but we'll see if the gear swayed Cooper. Struds, what else you got?
Yeah, I'll give 18 points to the waste management tournament in Phoenix that I was at. I went one day, and if you want to go and have a good time, it was fun. And now we didn't party that much on the course. Not that we really partied at all, but we had our fair share of drinks. But there was a lot of people that were really enjoying themselves there. It's loud. The players kind of get in there, and I was on 16 for a bit watching, and it's like, it sounds like a bar. And these guys are trying to play golf, and there's a guy, he puts a sign up, quiet, like, it's like putting your hand up to stop the wind. It doesn't make a difference at all. So 18 points for them. That's if you're into golf and you want to see a tournament, I'd check that one out.
Zuby, Brownie's not in the YouTube chat, is he?
I don't.
He's not, is he? What did Northern Farm Girl say? Northern Farm Girl said 50 point Brownie. Oh, okay. She's just saying 50 points for showing up in the Got Your Back Live. Get in here, people. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I thought she was saying Brownie, 50 points for Brownie for showing up in the chat, but it's not him. While we're mentioning that, go ahead and smash that love button. Pound that love button. Or hit that like button for us. Give us the thumbs up. We appreciate it. My last one, I'm going minus 50 Brownie points to the nice lady sitting in front of me on the plane. Sat down on the plane. Once we got up to altitude, pulled out a salad. Yes, Strud's a salad. Opened it up, put the dressing on, get ready to start eating. And this lady in front of me, not only did she recline her seat back the entire amount that it could recline, Struds, she gave it once and it didn't go. So then she slammed back super hard, salad in my lap in the first 25 minutes of a 4.5-hour flight. So thank you to that mystery lady sitting in front of me.
Were your hands tied to your legs? Like, what happened there?
Well, it was aggressive and fast. And I was like, I had dressing and I had a fork and I wasn't sitting there just holding the salad the whole time. It was on the tray in front of me. And so she slams back, and it literally just right into my lap. Like I had it up against my shirt and had to like do that and put it up. So I had salad all over my shirt, and it was no good.
No, I don't like the guy or the person who keeps their seat back the whole trip, unless your eyes.
She kept it back the whole time.
I know.
Wasn't sleeping the whole time, and she was short. She was not tall. I was not happy.
So I'm not. What I do is I'm very passive aggressive. So I pretend I don't have room for my knees if their seat's back, and I hammer my knees into the back of their seat, and and they'll look back and like, sorry, it's tight in here, right? I just keep very passive aggressive. So very, very passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Wait, you're a big enough guy though.
Passive.
Yeah,
big enough guy at least
that's
that people
aggressive passive.
People have to believe it.
But I do it on purpose. I pretend it's an accident, knowing we both know it's not an accident. So that's how I rock it.
What was that, Zuby?
I said, well, he's big enough at least that it's believable when they turn around to look.
Yeah, that's true. Look at the head on. Look at the size of the head on this guy. He must have really long legs.
Yeah, gauging it just on that. I got one last one. I got one big brownie point for my friend Brody McIntyre. His son Ozzie McIntyre, 15-year-old son, scored his first WHL goal for the Spokane Chiefs on February 1st. So only 15, couple call-ups, first of many, I'm sure, but one big brownie point for Ozzie McIntyre.
Love it.
Good for him.
Ronnie Oceanfront says, TSN doesn't fly a business class, Shogger? No. James Doughty has all of the money. We don't get to fly in business class. Any more Struds, or is that it?
Nope, tapped out.
Tapped out. That's it. That was 6 solid brownie points in an addition from Northern Farm Girl. That was brownie points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Okay, let's get one more segment in before we go to break here, Zuby. Struds, why don't we do our taking a trip segment? Who potentially at the trade deadline coming up here could be taking a trip? If you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, a quick winter escape, or a trip to watch your team play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too long. ab.bluecross.ca/travel will help you learn more. That is ab.bluecross.ca/travel. Trade deadline is approaching. Lots of conversation about it. Struds, who do you want to focus on as a potential trip taker?
So this player's name's coming up more and more with the insiders, and his name is Casey Middlestad, a center from the Avs. Now, he was acquired from Buffalo for Bowen Byram, and it felt like both can maybe find their way. And so far, I don't think either one's really taken to the role. I mean, he's got about 30-some points in 57 games. There's the McKinnon, and then there's Nick Cash and McCartan that just drops off, right? It's a big drop as far as point production. I think they're hoping for more from him. So he's a guy out there that, he may be moved. He has 2 more years, so you kind of cost certainty. Is he a true second-line center? I think they want him to be. He's not on this team. But he's a guy that's pretty skilled, not huge, but, skilled player. But I don't feel that he's really found the top end game that people wanted, either in Buffalo or Avs. So I could see him being a guy they move out to bring someone in there that's a little bit more what they're looking for, which is someone to back up the big man McKinnon.
He was in that Byram trade, right? Wasn't that the core piece? One of the core
That's him.
returns there
Yeah.
in the
One for
Byram
one,
trade, isn't
man.
it? Yeah, and that might not end up working, great for Buffalo either. Like they had a lot of talent on the back end. Lots of talk that he potentially ends up getting bounced out of there. What did you think of Middlestat the other night against the Oilers? I was watching him, paying a little bit of attention. I don't know. I didn't see much that looked or felt dynamic at all. Seemed kind of simple to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the word, and not to put words in your mouth, but I feel like you're saying he leaves you wanting more. And that's how I feel. Every time I watch him, I feel like this guy's going to, here he's going to pop. And then he kind of gets lost out there. And I think that's how the Avs probably interpret his play. Because if he was, let's say he was even 40s for points, 45 points and whatever, he's 55 games. Like, okay, that's pretty good. But he's just not there and they need help. McKinnon needs help.
All right. Could Casey Middlestat potentially be taking a trip? That segment brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. All right, one more break. When we come back, chat with Colton Parayko. Ask us anything as well. Want to give you a chance to chime in here, get your questions in. So stay with us. Lots still ahead here on Got Your Back.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Tonight. Whoa! So we'll be bringing in the breakdowns. Love it. Just shock us with one of those every once in a while. Time now for our Core Blue Liners segment, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they have your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, creating and managing tailored health and safety programs that will meet all legislative and core requirements. HSE Core, supporting client operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsecor.com. That's HSECOR.com for more information. Colton Parayko paired up with Josh Morrissey at Team Canada's practice earlier on today. Playing a pretty heavy number of minutes with the St. Louis Blues. Having a decent season. And getting an opportunity here to play some high-end international hockey. Had a chat with the local product a little bit earlier today. Here it is.
I have to say, sitting up there watching that practice, it was a little mind-blowing. I've done different Olympics and stuff before, but it feels like it's been so long since a collection of players like that was together. What was it like for you being out there?
It was good. Good first practice. It was exciting, obviously. Like you mentioned, just the speed and the pace and the preciseness of all the players. It's tape to tape all the time. Makes everything fast, makes everything crisp, and just to be out there with a group of players like that is special. And I definitely don't want to take it for granted, and just trying to do my part to be my best version and bring what I can bring, and then just learn a lot and have fun and enjoy it.
Notice you have Josh Morrissey on the other side there. Maybe just a thought about his game, the way he plays, why it might be a good mix, the two of you.
Yeah, it's obviously playing in the same division. We get to see him quite often, but he's a special player. The way that he skates, the way that he thinks the game. I think the one thing you notice the most about him when you play against him is just all the smart plays that he makes. Whether it be coming out of D zone, he moves the puck really well, carries the puck, and also in the O zone, the way that he makes plays in the O zone is incredible. And so I think just his whole game as a whole is impressive, and just he can skate, he can make good plays, he can defend well, and so all of those things combined makes it a really good defender.
You've played with and against some great players for a long time here, but I wonder if even for you there was a bit of a moment today where you were like, oh, okay, we're here.
Yeah, for sure. I think even yesterday we had a little Super Bowl party, and I mean, I wouldn't say party. We just kind of got together and watched the Super Bowl. But
Who are you cheering for?
I kind of want to see a three-peat, and Kansas City is close to St. Louis, so I guess
Wasn't
Kansas
much of
City,
a game.
I know it was kind of. I mean, we got here, we landed at 6:30, so we didn't get in until like the end of the second quarter. It wasn't really close by that point, but that's okay. So, but yeah, so when you kind of go to that room and you're like, well, like there's some talent in this room, and then once you get on the ice today, and I mean, we did penalty kill power play in that first power play unit. It's pretty special. It looks, it's I mean, you got a lot of the top players and the best players in the world, So it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to it.
What was it like? Because you were on the penalty kill there a little bit. So that first power play unit's breaking out. They've got the slingshot play with McDavid if they want, or they can fire it over to a streaking Nathan McKinnon. What is that like staring down the barrel of?
Yeah, it can be. You got to make sure you have your gap set. That's for sure. It's like you said, speed, a lot of skill. Those players do everything at full speed too, which is really hard to defend. So, but yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. Glad we're on the right side of it for the games.
Yeah, exactly. Last one for me. Show's back in Edmonton. Got to ask you about Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. The additions to your group this year. What have each of them meant, and what stood out to you about each of them?
Yeah, I mean they're great additions for our group for sure. I mean I think obviously, guess we can start with Holloway. Just I think just I didn't realize how impressive he was, to be honest, and he's kind of came into St. Louis and he had a good training camp, and then he's just kind of taken off, and he hasn't looked back, and he's got a lot of skill, a lot of speed. Thinks the game he's all hockey. He just wants to learn more and more, and it's incredible. So he's an unreal player, and he's got so much potential. I'm excited. He's going to be a great player, and he already is a great player, but you know what I mean. He's going to be even a better player. So that's exciting. And then Broby is the same way. Calm, poised, skates extremely well. I didn't realize how well he skated, to be honest. And but just his game as a whole too. He can skate with the puck out of the D zone. We call him the one-man breakouts, and can carry the puck. Comes up through the neutral zone. He's a great player.
Thanks for this, Colton, and have a blast at this event.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, that is local product Colton Parayko. Struds, I'm interested to watch him at this tournament. It's going to take some, like in that game against the United States, even against Sweden here, man, the competition is going to be fierce. And Parayko is good, but, he's not I don't know, he's not necessarily where he was maybe a number of years ago when he was a little bit younger. So what do you expect to see from Parayko here?
Yeah, so we know what his job is. His job is to take up space, put people into the wall, get in the way, and he'll do it. He moves well. He's still moving pretty well. And if he's truly paired with Josh Morrissey, Josh is one of the more underrated defensemen in the NHL. And people, he's Winnipeg. If he was in Toronto, they'd be hailing this guy as the next Bobby Orr. So he's a really good player as well. So these two guys, they're both smart, but Cole's job is to take up space, put people in the wall, and make good first passes. Very clear role for him, very defined. Of everyone on the team,
for sure.
I think he has one of the clearest defined roles on the team.
Yeah, great point by you. Some were asking how old he is. 31 years. 6'6". What's that?
Yeah, what is he, 31, 32?
31, yeah. And 6'6",
he'll be fine.
228. Yeah, the guy he's a truck out there. All right, that was Core Blue Liners, brought to you by HSE Core Services. All right, Zuby, hop on in here, buddy. Let's wrap up that poll. DeBoer's poll. And also, let's get to our Ask Us Anything segment, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. So they were founded in 1976, great local company. BJ Electric is a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Visit bjelectric.ca. Zuby, why don't we wrap up that poll first so we don't forget?
Sure, let's do that. Okay, the poll question tonight was, how would McKinnon and McDavid work together in a line? Amazing. Let's see it. 57% of the vote. They'd figure it out eventually.
Okay.
25%. Not sure it's a fit. 9%. Too similar, wouldn't work. 7%. So,
wow, 7.
Yeah. The vast majority of the people are into it in some, whether it'd be a home run on the first shift or they'd have to work their way into it a little bit. But yeah, most people feel like that would be a lethal combination, as we expect it would.
Yeah. Both highly intelligent, highly skilled players. I have to think they'd be able to figure it out. But to your point, Struds, like it might take a little bit of time to figure that out, and you just don't necessarily have that time. John Cooper's in a fascinating situation here. This is so different than other international events. So different.
It's so different, and I hope it works out. Like, I want to see these guys together, but no exhibition games, no real lead up. Tough.
Yeah. All right, Zuby, what do we got, buddy? A quick segment tonight. I'm a couple hours ahead of you guys, so I'm wiped. It's been a long day.
Okay.
Get me to bed.
Yeah, all right.
Got to clean up the salad mess.
A couple of interesting thoughts, I think, on the goaltending situation. Peter Matichuk says, this isn't a hot take, but I really believe Canada's goaltending is going to let them down. I think they'll struggle to win against all of these teams because of it. And if I can just, I'll kind of fold that into another question here. Evil Twin says, will our starting goaltender, Canada's starting goaltender, play every game if he plays well? I'm thinking Hill starts, but judging with John Cooper saying, like, that's an interesting thought. If he said, we got 4 game 7s, do you think if whoever plays game 1 shoots the lights out, he's just going to roll with them, Struddy?
Yeah, well, let me comment first on the goaltending in general. Yeah, people are really worried about the Canada's goalie, and I understand it. There's no real clear-cut winner. What about Sweden? They had Markstrom there. Now they're maybe looking at, Allmark. Is Allmark the guy who's going to start? Is it the guy from Minnesota? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. I want to say Thor Gilbertson.
Gustafsson?
Gustafsson, there it is. Yeah. And Allmark's been in and out of the lineup, right? Can he play? Can he not play? So I think Sweden's goaltending is a little bit, it's unsure of itself now when they had Markstrom before. I do think if you go in and play well game 2, you'll play the whole thing. I honestly, they're not trying to make friends. They're like, hey, this guy's playing well, or we don't need you to feel the way in. You play good, you're going to play.
How do you think, we were discussing this today, LeBron and I, like, the answer might be just ride your ninjas, like just ride the horses here, get McDavid out there as much as possible. McKinnon, just throw out. But, like, are the Oilers okay with Connor McDavid playing 24, 25 minutes a night here if he needs to? Are they okay? Are the Winnipeg Jets okay with Hellebuck running the entire table here? Like, is there any thought? I guess there can't be Struds. They got to just let her buck with everybody and do what you got to do, I guess.
Well, so let's say that it was Stan Bowman, the GM of Team Canada. Would he want Connor McDavid to play all the time to try to win? Yes. If it was Shovel Dayoff and he was a GM of Team USA, he would play the hell out of Hellebuck too. These guys want to win. I think they get it. They'll cringe and they'll be worried about what happens. But when those players go, you accept that probably will happen.
All right, Zuby.
Okay, let's go to Machine Gun Yanmark saying, what kind of schedule do the teams do for this event? I feel like they need some bonding time for being heated rivals their entire careers. It's crazy. Bennett, Marchand are teammates. So what's the schedule like for the team outside of games and practices, Shogger?
And actually applying that back to the goaltender, Zuby, I was chatting with Connor Hellebuck today. He said he actually loves this event because he's getting some practice time. They practice today. They practice tomorrow. And they practice again. I think they play Thursday. So he was talking about how he really likes all the practice time he's about to get here. And so the schedule, a lot of the teams all got in yesterday. I'm sure there were team bonding things that they did. You heard who was it? Was it Parayko that said they were at a Super Bowl gathering yesterday with the group? So I imagine, they all got together and did something. Practices here on the off days. It's not a really tedious schedule. It really isn't. So I think probably time in the evenings on off days to get together as a group, go for dinners. We were out on the town tonight, had a dinner and saw some members of Team Finland. They were all gathered for a big dinner. So Struds at an event like this, you're not playing every single night. It's not exactly a grind, and there is time to get together a little bit. And that stuff matters at these short tournaments.
It does. And I bet you there's probably like a ballroom that is like for Canada, a ballroom for whoever. And there's a bunch of food and drinks and massage tables, probably some gaming
Ping
units,
pong.
whatever. So guys get together and hang out, right? So I think they're going to try. The guys all understand. These guys have all played in short tournaments before. They understand, kind of what it feels like and how you have to do it. And they want to, and honestly, I think a lot of these guys, if they don't know each other, they probably want to get to know each other.
Yeah. A couple more, Zuby.
Yeah, while we're on Montreal, Ronnie Oceanfront says, what are your guys' favorite Montreal restaurants? L'Express for him, for Ronnie.
Oh, Oh, now I feel terrible. I'm trying to remember the name of the one we went to. Let me check my text. It might be in there. Struds, did you have any familiar haunts?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been there, but there was one. It was something about a horse, like the prancing horse or the horse on fire, something like that. And I was never the restaurant guy. I would just follow the herd, but it was so
Just
good.
go.
So good.
Medusa was the name of the restaurant we
Oh,
went to, a couple of blocks right downtown here by our hotel. It was so good. Smaller, not a ton of tables, but it was fantastic. Went with the gnocchi as my main tonight, Struds. A little heavy, fellas. A little heavy.
I love gnocchi, but it's like a bomb in your gut. It just sits there.
Oh, I know.
I hope you
I've
walk
been
to the
feeling it
restaurant.
this show. Yeah, no, I've been feeling
So
it this
good.
show a little bit.
Have you ever had it as an appetizer? You might as well just get up and walk out. It's like, why did I order something else?
Yeah,
It's
you're
like-
done. Blue cheese gnocchi.
Drink a
I had
bunch
that
of-
one time. It took months for that to digest. Blue cheese gnocchi. It was so good, but months. It was like gum in my gut.
Oh boy, I'm
Okay.
having regret now.
Paulie says there's a little excitement now that Four Nations is here. Seeing the lineups has amped up the excitement, but is there any chance Canada falls flat, can't find it, and finished fourth? I think Paulie may be still having PTSD from World Juniors or something, but what do you guys, and not to be negative, but what are the odds of that in your mind? I mean, they're in the same position as the other teams are, right? Struddy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unlikely just because there's some really good players on that team that are going to be pushing, and they'll be pushing each other, just like there's in Sweden, Finland, and USA. So I think that, I mean, there's a chance they could lose all the games, I guess. I mean, anything's possible. But I think they'll be ready to go. There's a lot of pride on the line when they get against each other, and I think they'll be ready.
Yeah, and you pointed it out, like their first game being against Sweden. You know, we'll see what they end up with in net. If Forsling, I mean, I think Forsling is going to be okay, but we'll see what happens there. I think that's a good starter for them. Really stiff competition, but gearing them up for the United States. So yeah, my gut is they're going to be okay, but you do never know, man. Sometimes these things it's just like pop, and the air comes out of the balloon, and that can be it. So we'll have to see what that looks like. More Zuby, one
last one, and then a quick one for Struddy on the very end. I thought this was interesting. Machine Gun Yanmark says, "What do you think the Braden Shen cost might be in a trade? Do you think the Blues and Oilers could settle a beef with some trade fits for veterans versus prospects that fit their windows?" So it should. I mean, he goes a little further. He had another message talking about maybe there's a side deal, a sub agreement as it relates to offer sheets. But let's set that aside. What do you think the cost for Braden Shen is going to be? And is there any way the Oilers could swing it, or would they want to, Schauger?
Yeah, good question. I think Shen's one of those players that, you know, if you're going to trade him, he's your captain. You know, you don't take trading him lightly, right? That's a culture change when you make a trade like that. Generally pretty well respected, works pretty hard. He's been fighting for his teammates this year, very engaged. So, yeah, and I'm just grabbing his cap. He's in year 5 of 8 at $6.5 million. So there's lots of time left on that deal as well, 33 years of age. I don't know, Struds, to me, that feels like, you know, you're certainly in first round territory and a prospect kind of thing for Braden Shen, depending on you have to get him to retain, and that's an expensive retaining. So am I overshoot? I'm just kind of picking that off the top of my head, but a trade deadline for good players that are other teams' captains and still contributing, that feels like it.
Yeah, I really like where he started. I think that gets him at least to answer the call, right? And then you start from there. But I mean, look, is it that much different than Ekholm? You know, let's be honest, like similar. He wasn't the captain, but teammen are pretty valuable. Had a few years left on his contract. So I do think it's very similar. Starting point, and then do the Oilers have the prospect for that? And cap space, someone else probably has to go out, if not this year, in the summer.
Yeah, for sure. All right, last one, Zuby.
Last one, starting over at 61, said, Struddy, when all-star breaks or other mid-season breaks occurred, what was your go-to destination? He's also assuming you weren't in the all-star game, but that's...
Well, just so close. So many times I couldn't book till the last minute. I was like the injury replacement. I went all over the place. Vegas, Mexico. I went skiing one time. a bunch of different things. So many different things I did. And you just look forward to getting away. And he felt so good when you came back. I always felt bad for the All-Stars because they had to go put on a show, but I was like, I'm out of here. I was so happy to go and just get a break. The rest of the season flew by.
Yeah. Yeah, a whole pile of Oilers, I'm sure, relaxing and enjoying themselves right now, getting a much-needed break. It might be painful for Oiler fans to watch what Matthias Ekholm's about to do, because he is going to put in some tough minutes against some phenomenal players, and you know that guy just does not know how to leave anything in the tank. So, yeah, that'll be one to watch, boy, how much of a workload it ends up being for these guys. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric. All right, let's wrap up our show with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy. Their experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology, making sure you get the best treatment possible. Gallery Dental, YEG.com is the website. I love traveling with my TSN teammates. Mark Masters and I have been on the road together for years, and you learn new things about people all the time. Well, today I'm sitting there. It's Kenzie Lalonde and Mark and I. We're sitting in the media workspace, and Mark broke out a big old bag of dry granola. Roll the video, Zuby. I had to tweet this today.
Oh.
So, eats it dry with a spoon right out of the Ziploc bag. Kenzie can't believe it. Here's the thing. Mark's wonderful wife, Robin, that was the cake, the empty plate that I had cake on. Mark's wonderful wife, Robin, he was on a 9-day trip before this one. And then when you couple that with the days on she packed 17 of those little Ziploc bags full of granola for Mark to take with him on the road. Dry granola, no milk, no nothing, not mixing anything in. A spoon, dry granola right out of the Ziploc that Robin prepared for him 10 days ago, Struddy.
Well, good for him, but trying to do that is, I love granola and I've had it dry. I can't eat a whole thing. That is, congrats.
Oh man,
that's very impressive. Very impressive.
That's like he's like a bird. Granola? He's like a bird. Yeah. He doesn't even need any liquid to choke it down.
Jeez.
That's what Kenzie said. Kenzie was like, that is bird food. So, but yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but no, you finish your thought on that first.
Okay, Masters. I was just going to say, Masters Nation, I mean, he's an absolute legend. I'm really excited to be working this event with him. He's such a good teammate and a great guy to work with, and so friendly and quirky, and love it. And we're going to be filing content all week long. Sports Center, That's Hockey, our YouTube page, tsn.ca. We're going to have this thing blanketed. So stay tuned to all of our channels over at TSN to check it all out. Zuby.
Yeah, we're keeping Matt Blom in suspense here, and he came in late. And referred to himself as the Blommer, which I love. He's like giving himself
Blom.
a nickname.
Well,
now
he's said that.
Yeah,
Strud's
maybe
gave him that nickname.
I like that
Blommer,
he's referring to himself in third person though as the Blommer now. Anyway, the Blommer wants to know. Lots of people want to know what the schedule is for the pods with Four Nations games, and so I don't know how much you want to divulge. But we're going to be doing pods throughout the Four Nations face-off.
Yeah.
Is the short answer, right?
Yeah, we are going to be. Why not? I mean, we're live here at the Four Nations face-off. Why wouldn't we want to knock off pods? Who else has the chance to come do that? So, yes, still a work in progress, though. I got to get a little bit of a better sense for what my schedule looks like post-game. Post-game on Canada nights is going to be pretty damn late out here. So, I'm not sure if we're going to do that. I was going to talk to you guys how you feel about maybe doing an early morning. I don't know, but we're keep an eye on our socials and we'll put it out there. I'm still formulating the schedule. So Blomski, the Blominator, don't have an answer for you. We're flying by the seat of our pants a little bit. Hope that's okay, everybody. For you guys,
follow at Got Your Back. What's our what's our actual? Find us on Twitter or X if you want to call it that. Follow us, and we'll tweet it out. We always tweet it out the day of.
Yeah, for sure. Ray Ferraro and Darren Dreger also both going to be out here at this event. So the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast also will be live. Well, not live, but taped out here at the Four Nations Face-Off. Struddy, I hope you're on the tail end of whatever you got going, buddy. I thought for sure you were going to be good coming back from your trip, but it sounds like you're still in one.
Yeah, it's still the same. Nothing's changed. It'll be fine. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
All right, buddy. Be well, my friend. Be well.
Thank
Zuby,
you.
great job tonight, buddy. Good job putting all that sound together. That's a lot for you to produce while I'm on the road here, so much appreciated, pal.
Yeah, right on. That was fun. Good show.
Yeah, great show. Some extra brownie points for you tonight. And thanks to all of you for joining us on the live stream on X or on YouTube. If you've downloaded us and are listening in podcast form, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Tell your friends. Invite someone on along onto one of our live streams. Let's keep growing this thing and inviting new people in. We're having an absolute blast. Lots more shows to come here from the Four Nations Face-Off in Montreal. And check out tsn.ca for all of our coverage as well. We'll talk to you again real soon, folks.